So you ask a question? Yeah, so Kevin, firstly, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to meet with the Home Ground Asia. And yeah, I first came to Singapore back in the year 2000, and simply because, I studied in the UK. I'm from Gibraltar, a little British colony in the south tip of Spain. And I studied in the UK, and when I was there, I befriended a Sri Lankan gentleman who got a job in Singapore, and he told me about how beautiful Singapore was and how welcoming it was. So I got a one-way ticket and I came over in 2000. And over the last 21 years, I've been here a total of 14 years now. So this is the third time I've come back. I've been here since 2010. And again, Singapore is an incredible country. There's, I think, not many places in the world like this, and I feel incredibly privileged to live here in Singapore. And back in 2015, I was in the Maldives with a group of individuals developing a resort, and I learned about the fact that the oceans are warming up because of over-acidification. And when I went diving one day, I saw white corals, which were beautiful, but they were dead. And I started asking about why that was happening. And I was told that basically the way we're living, because of the industrial revolutions and fossil fuels, things are burning up essentially. And I thought to myself, that the world did not need another luxury resort. But I thought, how cool would it be to be able to get the smartest and brightest people on the planet and equip them with a level of technology that would have been unprecedented, let's say 100 years ago, or even 20 years ago, but very possible today, and allow them to come up with solutions to the world's greatest challenges on a vessel that could be global, would go around the world. It could bring private citizens. So essentially you have a situation where intellectuals are meeting excitement, the scientists are in a beautiful vessel, and then you have also consumers becoming contributors in the science, participating in the science. And I thought that being able to democratize science like that by allowing people to experience it firsthand could be a very powerful idea, bringing very wealthy individuals who would normally stay in a resort, but this time bringing them on board a vessel, and with being on board with the scientists, their children could learn about how the world works and all of that. So that's the inspiration for a 300. It's a bit like, with these extreme weather events, the climate is changing. We have a climate crisis, which not many people realize. And so the idea was to be able to allow the global community to learn about what is happening with the climate so that they can also get involved in it and do their part. Yeah, absolutely. So again, the business, when I learned about the topic, the business became who I was, and I started thinking much more systemically, much more globally, realizing that, it's actually everybody is unconsciously contributing to climate change without even realizing. So, at home, we do our part where we don't use plastic bags, we bring our own back to the supermarket. We also try to buy sustainable food when we can, and just be more aware about the way that things work, and just really have that awareness and do our part. Absolutely. So we've been incredibly privileged to have been able to attract an incredible array of people in different fields, so incredible scientists, technologists, engineers, even artists, people coming from different walks of life. And then, of course, we have some large companies with us. So, for example, we are working with IBM. They're going to be providing the technology for the ship, because the ship will be built as a next generation platform for science exploration and research. We're going to incorporate IoT, robotics, AI, quantum computing, when it's available. So IBM is on the technology side. Even here, locally in Singapore, we're working with SSTL, Singapore Space and Technologies Limited, because space is always at the forefront of cutting edge technologies, and they are kind of introducing these technologies to us. And this technology essentially is being commercialized by a company called Core Power that is based in UK and Singapore, and they're helping us with the propulsion system. And then we have behemoths such as Wärtsilä, which are experts, and they supply 80% of engines globally. And then, of course, we have smaller players, but still very relevant. We don't really discriminate between big and small. It's just whatever we need. But we've been incredibly privileged to have that opportunity to attract this level of cadre of companies coming on board. Absolutely. We've got about 40 advisors on board now, and we're trying to take a multidisciplinary approach to science, So essentially, we've got advisors coming from the technology worlds. We've got the global chief technology officer of a leading MNC. His name is Martin Yates. He's based in Singapore, actually, and he's a British gentleman who converted to Singaporean passport. So he advises the Singapore government on security, and he's very much localized in that sense. So he's brilliant. We also have Professor Federico Lauro from NTU. He's a deep sea microbiologist, and he's tremendous. He's amazing. We have a lot of interesting people on board for sure, from different walks of life, not just science and technology, as I've said, but even engineering and the arts, and again, taking that systemic approach to science. You don't solve the climate crisis with a PhD in thermodynamics, right? So you need to take a global approach. Yeah, so you've hit the nail on the head, Kevin. So essentially, we wanted to build something that, because it's also in the future, it's not today, it's 4 years' time it will be built, and by that time technology changes a lot, so we want to push the envelope, and we want it to be a factory of the future where the world's greatest ideas are birthed and they're brought on board as test beds. And in fact, we have serious conversations with a couple of large corporates in the world who want to use our vessel as a test case, both for a smart city and looking at the latest technologies. So absolutely, that's what Earth 300 is. It's really pushing the envelope, cutting edge, and allowing us to dream, but also to dare more, and to be part of the ride at whatever level, right? I mean, if you cannot light a candle, you can use a mirror to shine the light, right? And so that's really what we're trying to do with Earth 300. Yeah, absolutely. So again, you can build castles in the sky, that's where they should be, but then you need to go to work and put the right foundations. And so what we're doing is, because the vessel is so futuristic and so advanced, we're also starting an accelerator, our own accelerator here on the ground, incorporating some companies that are into sustainable technology, and we are allowing them to get more of a global reach. Now we have a lot of media globally also, and then we're working with the schools in Singapore. We're also speaking to a few of the ministries and the different government agencies on different ideas. But for example, I'll give you a good example. We're working with a company called WOW, based out of the UK. It means waste or wonder. And what they do is they take plastic waste and they recycle it and upcycle it and create products with it. So the idea with the schools here, in Singapore, I believe you have around 200 schools, and we're going to work with them to create a zero plastic school model, where they take the plastic that they consume, and perhaps we create folders or we create plastic cups, and it's upcycled. And that's here with the schools in Singapore where we're headquartered. Okay, yes. So essentially, we have a lady called Victoria Alons Perez, who's a young United Nations leader. She's got a company called ChipSafer that was initially in Uruguay. So she's one of the greatest technology leaders to come out of South America in the last 10 years. And she's moved over to Singapore and headquartered her company in Singapore. She's also incubated by the SSTL, and she's using IoT to track cattle, livestock, and be able to monitor their activities to ensure that they are sustainable and there's no waste, and if there's any cow which is not healthy, they can basically get rid of one cow and not have to exterminate many of them. So that's one of the ladies. And then the other one is, as I've mentioned, we're working with the WOW in the UK, and of course we've got a lot of companies now also supplying or proposing their ideas to us, and we're looking through them. Absolutely. So Earth 300 is all about inspiring an era of ecological imagination, and we'd like to invite the local Singapore community and beyond to join us in this quest to address the world's greatest challenges, doing whatever we can and moving forward. And so we'd like to invite students, researchers, leaders, partners, explorers, vanguards, to join us in this quest so that we can protect our current generation and future generations for the years to come.